Namaste. Hello, everyone. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about the attitude that has been going through America that I've been reading about, which is that people are over the coronavirus. They're just tired of thinking about it. They're ready for life to be back to normal. And I completely understand. I would also really enjoy being able to get back to normal, what my life used to be like. But I think it's very important that we try to be realistic and try to be smart about this. It's very important to stay informed. Your life can depend on that. We at Ananda have taken rather draconian measures, it's been called. We were at the early edge of closing things down. We're cautiously looking to July 12th to see if we can reopen in a systematic and safe way for everyone. And at Ananda Village, they've been even more careful and really closed off the community so that it doesn't start there because people are so interactive. It's very dangerous. So even though we are really bored with this whole virus, the whole pandemic thing, it's really important that we stay smart. So we will be reopening with someone using a handheld temperature gauge, a non-touch temperature gauge. As you enter, probably we'll do something outside. So before you enter that area to be seated, your temperature will be taken. We will ask that you wear a face mask and that you wear it properly so that it does cover your nose and your mouth, not sitting under your chin or just covering your mouth. It's important to pinch it at the bridge of the nose so that it stays firm. You don't want to be touching the mask either. We will recommend that people wear gloves. It's just delightful in hot weather to wear plastic gloves on your hands. But we are trying to follow the recommendations of epidemiologists and healthcare professionals who understand the spread of infectious disease. It's very easy to just think, well, nobody I know has it, and so I'm not going to get it, and that's so last year anyway. I mean, we're just free of this now, but there has been a spike in cases since the last holiday when people were really wandering around without protection. So let's see what we can do. We're going to try to open up, as I say. We'll be holding Sunday services for a shorter duration. We will also make sure that it's outside so that there's a good airflow. We'll ask that people wear protective personal equipment, and we will cut way down on responsive prayers and affirmations. We won't have the choir sing yet. We will not have a lot of chanting and singing because that projection of the voice puts a lot more air particles into the air. breath particles. So we want to try to keep it as safe for everyone as we can. I read an article that said just because my own grandmother hasn't been killed by this virus doesn't mean that it can't affect older people. So, we do this for ourselves, but especially to protect others. I read one article that said, my mask protects you, your mask protects me. And so that's a good way to look at it. It's actually a service to try to be as conscientious as we can. One of the deadly aspects of this virus is that there are non-symptomatic carriers, people who don't feel any symptoms but are blithely spreading the virus to unsuspecting others. And so we don't know yet when there will be a vaccine or when there will be even a good treatment for this virus. Healthcare professionals have been extremely heroic in all their efforts, and they are much better equipped now than they were 3 months ago. But still, we don't want to stress out the healthcare system by contributing to the number of cases. Let's try to limit still the activities that we do and try to stay home as much as possible. Try to stay safe, especially those of us who are in our 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's important to be very careful. One article I read said 1 in 5 people in America are very susceptible to this virus. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of your friends, a lot of your family. So it's better to be smart. It's better to take this opportunity as coming from Divine Mother, as devotees, as aspiring yogis of this path. Many people have said to me, half apologetically, I really don't mind staying at home so much. It's been actually a wonderful time. People feel a little guilty about it. But take it as an opportunity for seclusion. Take it as an opportunity to dive into your spiritual practices. If we catch this virus, it could be our last opportunity to really meditate deeply. That's kind of a macabre take on it, but it's important to realize that we are transitory beings. We're not here on this earth for very long. Anyone who's walked in the redwoods, I'm sure, has felt the power of these trees that are centuries old. And our little lifespan seems so small in comparison. So take this moment not to feel as though, I have to distract myself. I have to watch this television show and look at the news 50 times a day, and I have to be distracted. Instead, go a little deeper and think, what can I do with this time that will really be of service and of help, not only to myself, but to others? I don't have grandchildren myself, but I was thinking how often grandparents don't write anything down for their grandchildren. I knew some of my grandparents, but I never got any good stories from them. I never really heard directly from them about their lives because I was too young when they finally passed away. And my great-grandparents on my father's side, I only saw a photograph of them. I can still see that photograph in my mind's eye because I loved looking at them. They were my own. I wanted them. I wanted to hear about their lives, and I never got to. So remember that time marches on. We are here only a moment. And for those of you who are grandparents, what a wonderful project to take an afternoon. Sit at your typewriter or your computer or talk into a microphone and record a message for your grandchildren about what your childhood was like, what you love to do, your hobbies, your aspirations, what you've dedicated your life to. Those grandchildren would love to hear about it. Maybe not now, but maybe when they're 50 years old or 60, they would be inspired to know where they came from, who they came from. So how often do we take time to do a project like that? But this could be the moment. And so I encourage you to go deep inside. There was a wonderful interview I saw, this was some months ago now, of a doctor in an Italian hospital, and he was doing a walkthrough with all the intubated patients. It was very sad, but being Italian, they still had that sense of drama and joy somehow. And even the little patients, as the camera walked through, they were waving from their bed, flat out. Just still, they were waving and trying to be on camera. It was very endearing. And this Italian doctor was trying to give advice to Americans and saying, please stay home. Think about life. And I've often remembered him saying that because this is a rare opportunity. I think it's part of Dwapara Yuga and the change that is happening because humanity as a whole is having to step back, slow down, think about life, think about your life. Not just party, not just work, not just run in circles with the family and the job and the everything distracting us, but to sit down and think, what do you want to do with your life? In the time that God has given you, how can you give? How can you serve? How can you love God more and more deeply?